Alright, chapter 61 is where the realization chaos gets even messier, because Qin Chen decides that if trouble is already at the door, he might as well make himself comfortable and roast everybody involved. So the black-robed leader downstairs instantly changes his attitude after hearing the name Kai Hao. What? Because Kai Hao is not some random spoiled traveler. He is the son of the Kai family patriarch from Tanshui Commandery, and the Kai family is not weak at all. Their connection to the imperial capital is strong, their status is high, and their background is definitely the kind that makes ordinary people think twice before breathing too loudly. So, the black-robed leader starts flattering immediately. He praises Kai Hao's talent, says he heard the young master is on his way to the imperial capital to join Heavenly God Academy, and even offers congratulations in advance. Textbook survival instinct. Kai Hao, being exactly the kind of guy who enjoys this treatment, nods with satisfaction. He says he wants to see for himself whether these masked men are really searching for someone or just causing trouble for fun. Basically, he gives them permission to continue. That already tells you what kind of person he is. He is not helping out of justice. He is helping because his ego got fed. Then, just when things seem to settle, another door on the upper floor opens. Out walks an old man and a young woman. Now the old man is calm and silent, the kind of person who gives off that low-key but dangerous bodyguard energy. But the real scene stealer is the girl beside him. She looks around 18. Light blue dress, black sash at the waist. Elegant, refined, breathtakingly beautiful without any need for jewelry or heavy makeup. The crazy part is that she doesn't give off any spiritual fluctuation at all. She looks almost like a normal person, which in a cultivation story usually means one of two things. Either she is actually normal or something much weirder is going on. She calmly says that the person these masked men are looking for is not in her room. Simple, clear, polite. Then, before anyone can respond, the central room opens too, and out walks Qin Chen, hands behind his back, calm as usual, looking down from the railing like he's watching theater. Then he says the funniest possible thing. You're looking for a little girl around 7 or 8 years old, right? The black-robed leader immediately confirms it, and Qin Chen smiles. She's in my room. Yo, this man does not even pretend to cooperate halfway. He just throws the entire situation into chaos on purpose. Then Ling Xiaofai walks out, and now that she has cleaned up a bit, everybody can clearly see she is absurdly cute. Tiny face, doll-like features, fresh clothes, basically the kind of little kid that immediately makes the story feel suspicious because she clearly is not ordinary. The masked leader quickly starts lying. He claims she is the daughter of a trusted steward serving his master. Apparently she ran away from home, and now the steward is desperately searching for her. So naturally, he asks Qin Chen to hand her over. Qin Chen turns to Xiaofai and asks if that is true. And Xiaofai instantly calls Cap. She points out that this guy cannot even tell Qin Chen her name, so how could he possibly be here to bring her home? That line completely breaks the leader's fake story. Qin Chen immediately leans into it. He points out that if the leader does not know her name, then clearly she is not the person he claims she is searching for. And if that is the case, Qin Chen has no reason to help him. At this point, Xiaofai is grinning like she just found the safest big brother in the world. Then one of the masked men loses patience and goes full idiot mode. He jumps straight to the second floor, clearly planning to snatch Xiaofai by force. And Qin Hai finally gets involved. One punch, that's all. The guy gets blasted backward, spits blood, and crashes downstairs with a huge blackened mark on his chest. One strike and he is basically done. Now the masked leader's expression changes instantly, because Qin Hai, who looks only a little older than Qin Chen, is already at the 8-gate stage. That is not normal. That is wrong city, wrong target territory. Still, the leader is too deep in now, so he attacks personally. He launches an 8-wind palm strike, sending out multiple streams of force at once toward Qin Chen. And Qin Chen, bro, just kicks. That's it. One kick. But because Qin Chen is now at 9-gate heaven gate and has an absurd body refined by the Tiger Roar Dragon Chant Fist plus the Gale Spirit body technique, that kick carries monstrous power. The 8-wind palm gets blown apart instantly. The masked leader himself is sent flying back like he got hit by a wagon full of bricks. His mask shatters, revealing a stern middle-aged face underneath. And at that moment, the old man beside the beautiful girl finally reacts, because he can tell exactly what just happened. Qin Chen did not just block an attack from a heaven gate cultivator. He casually overpowered it with raw force and then used externalized spiritual energy to launch a follow-up strike precise enough to break through a Heaven Gate cultivator's defenses. In other words, this boy is not simple at all. The masked leader, now coughing blood and fully exposed, glares at Qin Chen and says he will remember that name. Then he tries to retreat. Big mistake. Qin Chen raises a hand and fires out a condensed spiritual blade-like attack, straight through the man's back. The leader collapses instantly, and the rest of the masked men? Yeah, all courage gone. They scatter and run. No formation, no discipline, no dignity, just pure survival sprint. Watching all of this, the old man narrows his eyes and quietly comments that this young man is extraordinary. The beautiful girl, meanwhile, looks genuinely interested. And unlike most people who get interested in Qin Chen because of fear or because he embarrassed them, she seems curious in a smarter way. So she walks over, introduces herself. Her name is Yan Shuinger. She asks if she and her elder companion can sit down and chat for a bit. Qin Chen lightly takes her hand in greeting, and the moment he does, his eyes change slightly, because he immediately senses the problem. No spiritual energy. No, not blocked. Not hidden. Hasn't. Yan Shuinger notices his expression and calmly explains that there is no spiritual energy in her body. She cannot cultivate. Now here is what makes this scene interesting. Most men look at Yan Shuinger and notice her beauty first. Qin Chen notices her body condition first. That instantly makes her like him more. Because for once, someone sees the actual problem before the pretty face. And Qin Chen, being Qin Chen, does not stop there. He casually looks at her and says that her complexion is pale, the area near her temples is dark, and she clearly has something troubling her. Then he says he wants to guess what the issue is. And just like that, the relay station robbery side plot suddenly turns into the beginning of a brand new mystery arc. So yeah, this chapter does a really fun thing. It starts as a rescue scene for a weird little girl, turns into another flex scene where Qin Chen casually embarrasses a Heaven Gate thug, then ends by introducing a mysterious beauty with zero spiritual energy and a problem Qin Chen clearly already sees through, meaning the road to the imperial capital is not just dangerous. It is already serving side quests, hidden bloodlines, suspicious nobles, and future trouble on a silver platter. Exactly how Qin Chen likes it. Alright, chapter 62 is where Qin Chen casually drops one of the most ridiculous lore bombs so far. Because remember the mysterious girl we just met? Yan Shuinger. Beautiful, elegant, looks like the main character of a completely different story, but also cannot cultivate, which in a cultivation world is basically the worst possible curse. So after the chaos at the relay station settles down and the fake bandits run away, everyone gathers in the main hall again. Kai Hao also walks over, still trying to act like the center of the universe. He praises Qin Chen's strength, says he admires him, but the funny part? He is not even looking at Qin Chen. His eyes are glued to Yan Shuinger. Bro is already down bad. He immediately introduces himself again, saying he is Kai Hao from the Kai family of Tanshui Commandery, and tries to act polite while staring at her like a guy who already imagined their wedding. Yan Shuinger completely ignores him. She doesn't even look in his direction. Instead, she turns to Qin Chen. Because earlier, Qin Chen said something interesting. He said she had something troubling her, and that instantly caught her attention. So she asks him directly, "Do you know what my trouble is?" And Qin Chen, being Qin Chen, answers in the most mysterious way possible. He says he knows how to read faces. Yeah, bro basically said he's a fortune teller. But then he continues calmly. He says he doesn't know where she is going on this journey, but he does know the reason she is traveling. Her illness. Her hidden condition. The moment he says that, Yan Shuinger's eyes change. Because that is exactly why she left home. Not even many people close to her know the truth. But Qin Chen just casually guessed it. Then he explains further. She is a star fate martial artist, but her destiny, soul, and body are all ordinary, meaning her compatibility with spiritual energy is almost zero. She cannot absorb spiritual energy, which means she cannot cultivate, and hearing someone explain her lifelong curse so accurately shocks her. Even her guardian, Old Mo, becomes suspicious. He stares at Qin Chen carefully and demands to know how he figured that out, and Qin Chen just shrugs. Like he already said, he reads faces. Now obviously that's nonsense. But the point is he's right. Yan Shuinger has lived her entire life unable to cultivate. Every time she tries to gather spiritual energy inside her body, it disappears. Immediately, like trying to hold water in a broken bucket. At this point, she asks Qin Chen to come to her room and talk more. Kai Hao is standing right there watching this happen. And his face? Dark. Very dark. because the girl he just tried to impress ignored him completely and instead invited another guy to her room. That is emotional damage. So Qin Chen and Yun Xiu and her leave together, while Kai Hao stands there looking like someone just stole his favorite toy. He immediately orders his subordinate to investigate Qin Chen, because in his mind, this random guy who appeared out of nowhere is clearly trying to show off in front of him. Classic jealous young master behavior. Meanwhile, inside Yun Shuanger's room, the atmosphere becomes serious. Old Mo is extremely cautious, because Qin Chen just exposed a secret condition about his young lady, and Old Mo himself is not weak. He is a 5th level Spirit Sea expert, which Qin Chen immediately points out, casually, like it's nothing. Then Qin Chen begins explaining the situation. He says Yun Shuanger's body indeed appears to be a completely ordinary body, destiny, and soul, which means spiritual energy cannot stay inside her body. It is like owning a treasure chest but having no key to open it. And Yun Shuanger immediately asks the most important question, can it be fixed? And Qin Chen answers, of course! But before explaining the solution, he reveals something shocking. Her body is not actually ordinary. All the people who examined her before were wrong. Her constitution is something completely different. Not a spirit body, not a sacred body, not a king body, not an emperor body, none of those famous cultivation physiques. Instead, she possesses something far older, something that existed before the current cultivation system, the chaos body. Yup, that's the reveal, and Qin Chen explains the ancient history behind it. Long ago, before the world became unified, reality itself was made of countless smaller worlds. This was called the Chaos Era. Later, a god unified those worlds and created the current era. But the Chaos body existed before all of that. And unlike normal cultivators who absorb spiritual energy, the Chaos body absorbs primordial energy. Not spiritual energy, primordial energy, which is much more ancient, much more powerful, and also almost impossible to find in the current world. That's why Yun Shuanger cannot cultivate. It is not because her body is defective, it is because the energy she needs basically no longer exists in the environment. So every time she tries to absorb spiritual energy, her body rejects it. Instantly, Yun Shuanger has actually read ancient texts before, so she knows primordial energy once existed. But in the current age, the world runs on spiritual energy. So she asks the obvious question, where is she supposed to find primordial energy now? And Qin Chen smiles, because she doesn't need it. He already knows another method to cultivate with the chaos body, which means he can fix her condition. Hearing this, Yun Shuanger's heart almost explodes with hope. Since childhood, everyone told her the same thing. She cannot cultivate. Her destiny is sealed. Even her father couldn't find a solution. And now this random boy on the road says he can fix everything. Of course, she immediately asks what the method is. And Qin Chen finally reveals his condition. If he helps her, she must become his maid. Yes, not disciple, not partner. Maid! Old Mo instantly explodes in anger, because Yun Shuanger is not just some random noble girl. Her family background is extremely powerful, and now this kid is asking her to become a servant? That sounds insane. But Qin Chen just shrugs. He says if she wasn't a rare chaos body, he wouldn't even bother explaining anything. In other words, he's doing her a favor. Yun Shuanger hesitates. Even if she agreed, her father would never approve something like that. So Qin Chen stands up and prepares to leave. Conversation over. Opportunity gone. Oh, right at that moment, Ling Tian runs into the room after finishing her bath and immediately asks if Qin Chen failed to flirt with the beautiful sister. She even says Yun Shuanger would regret it if she didn't marry Qin Chen, which completely derails the serious conversation. And Qin Chen, he suddenly realizes something funny. This little girl might be even more dangerous than everyone chasing her. Alright, chapter 63 is where Qin Chen quietly does something absolutely insane while everyone else is sleeping. Because while the relay station finally becomes peaceful again, Qin Chen is about to step into an entirely new realm. But before that happens, we get one more funny moment. As Qin Chen carries Ling Tian back to the room, the little girl suddenly starts lecturing him like a tiny old grandma. She says Yun Shuanger is so beautiful, so elegant, so perfect, and Qin Chen still demanded she become his maid. No wonder she refused. Honestly, valid criticism. But Qin Chen just laughs and pats the girl's head. He says not to worry. A man like him will never struggle to find a wife. Then he adds something even wilder. Even if Yun Shuanger has the legendary chaos body, she only qualifies to be his maid. No, that level of confidence is either insane or justified. Knowing Qin Chen, Probably both. Ling Xiaofai immediately nods seriously like she understands everything, even though she clearly doesn't. Then Qin Chen sends her to sleep. Except of course, the little girl refuses to sleep alone. Instead, she grabs Qin Chen's legs and begs to sleep in the same room because she's scared. Now remember, this girl is technically a descendant of the 9 nether vermilion bird, meaning she could grow into something terrifying in the future. But right now, she's just a tiny kid clinging to Qin Chen's legs. And even someone who remembers 9 lifetimes of existence can't win against that level of emotional attack. So Qin Chen gives up. She sleeps on the bed. He sits cross-legged beside it. And once Ling Xiaofai falls asleep, the real cultivation session begins. Qin Chen looks at the sleeping girl and mutters something interesting. A descendant of the 9 nether vermilion bird appearing on the 9 nether continent, that's strange. Which implies something big might have happened in the outside worlds over the past tens of thousands of years. But that mystery will wait. Right now he has something more important to do. Break through. Qin Chen raises both hands. Between his palms appear 9 energy vortices. These are the vortices he formed earlier while preparing for the Spirit Sea realm. Over the past few days, he has been refining them constantly until they became incredibly stable. Each vortex spins with condensed spiritual energy. Then Qin Chen swallows a pill, the 9 Revolutions Jade Gold Pill. This pill is extremely valuable for cultivators at the 9 gate stage because it helps them open their spirit sea. The moment the pill enters his body, powerful spiritual energy floods through his meridians. Then the process begins. 9 vortices appear again between his palms. But instead of remaining separate, they begin merging. This is where the difficulty begins. The vortices resist each other violently, because forcing multiple energy cores to merge into one structure creates intense backlash. But Qin Chen just snorts. This level of resistance is nothing. He releases spiritual energy from all 9 gates inside his body. The energy surges forward like an army suppressing rebellion. The vortices slowly begin to stabilize. Then Qin Chen commands again, murder. The 9 vortices compress together, gradually forming something new. A spirit sea. For most cultivators, the spirit sea is formed inside the body, but Qin Chen's method condenses the spirit sea within his palms. It appears like a miniature ocean vortex spinning with terrifying energy. Finally, the spirit sea stabilizes. Qin Chen closes his hands. A powerful wave of energy spreads outward. Spirit Sea Realm, first level. Just like that, Qin Chen has officially stepped into the Spirit Sea stage. Normally, a cultivator at this level possesses around 1,000 horsepower of strength. But Qin Chen is not normal. When he clenches his fists, something strange happens. The Fengshen pearl inside his mind suddenly begins spinning. This pearl has remained silent ever since Qin Chen lost his Stargate. The last time it reacted was when it fused the memories of his 9 previous lives into his current one. So when it suddenly activates again, even Qin Chen is surprised. The pearl begins moving from his mind down toward his palms, and instantly the spirit sea within his hands starts circulating with his surrounding heaven and earth. His body becomes a focal point for spiritual energy. The world itself seems to flow through him. This is something extremely rare, using the natural spiritual energy of heaven and earth to temper the body directly. And the process continues for hours, until finally dawn approaches. When Qin Chen opens his eyes again, everything feels different. His body has undergone another transformation. His strength rises dramatically. Instead of the normal 1,000 horsepower of a first-level Spirit Sea cultivator, Qin Chen now possesses 5 dragon power, 5,000 horsepower, 5 times stronger than normal. Even Qin Chen is impressed. The Fengshen pearl really is incredible. After the process ends, the pearl quietly returns to his mind. But now Qin Chen notices something new. Inside the pearl, a small space has appeared, around 10 square meters in size. A storage space, meaning the Fengshen pearl just became a spatial treasure, which is ridiculously convenient. After finishing his breakthrough, Qin Chen relaxes. Then he suddenly notices something heavy behind him. Ling Xiaofai somehow rolled off the bed in her sleep and ended up sleeping on his back like a tiny backpack. Her sleeping posture absolutely chaotic. Qin Chen can only laugh helplessly. After resting for a while, he wakes the little girl up. Over the next few days, the journey becomes far less boring with Ling Xiaofai around. Her constant chatter fills the road with noise. But there's one thing Qin Chen didn't expect. Yan Shuanger has started following them. which means the road to the imperial capital just gained another interesting companion. And honestly, something tells me Qin Chen might get that maid after all. Alright, chapter 64 is where Qin Chen finally arrives at the biggest stage of the Northern Ming Empire, the imperial capital. And the moment this chapter starts, you can already feel the scale difference. Because while traveling, something unexpected happens. Yan Shuinger never left. After that strange conversation about the chaos body, Qin Chen originally thought she would leave the next morning. After all, he basically asked her to become his maid. Most people would walk away instantly. But Yan Shuinger, she simply pretended that conversation never happened. Instead, she continued traveling alongside Qin Chen and Qin Hai like nothing was wrong, sometimes chatting casually, sometimes asking random questions, almost like the two of them were already old friends, which of course drives one person absolutely crazy. Kai Hao. This poor guy has been following the group the whole journey, constantly trying to show off his background and impress Yan Shuinger, and every single time she ignores him. So now we see Kai Hao sitting in the forest during a rest break, angrily chewing roasted chicken while staring at Qin Chen and Yan Shuinger talking together. The jealousy is real. He turns to his subordinate and demands the investigation results, and the report finally comes back. Qin Chen, third young master of the Qin family from Lingyan City. Apparently his star gate was stolen, but instead of becoming useless, his talent suddenly exploded. He helped the Qin family unify the entire city. Kai Hao hears this and immediately laughs. Because Lingyan City? In his mind, that's basically a countryside village. 1 million population at most. Compared to Tanshui Commandery where he comes from, not even close. So he concludes something very important. This guy absolutely cannot be more handsome than me. Nas, that is the conclusion he reaches. His subordinate can only sigh internally, because his young master's pride is so huge that arriving in the imperial capital might actually be dangerous for him. Meanwhile, the journey continues. Ling Xiaofei spends most of the trip riding on Xiao King's back because she constantly complains that walking is tiring. At first, Xiao King hates it, but after a few days of Ling Xiaofei doesn't ride him, he actually gets angry. Congratulations! The legendary beast has become a babysitter. After several days of traveling, the group finally sees something on the horizon. A massive black silhouette. The Northern Ming imperial capital. Even from far away, the city looks enormous. But the crazy part? Even after seeing the outline, it still takes half a day of traveling before they finally reach the gate. That is how huge the place is. The city walls are built from black profound iron, hundreds of meters tall. Saleh! The entire capital looks like a gigantic black beast lying on the earth, waiting to swallow everyone who enters. Inside this city live tens of millions of people. When Qin Chen finally sees it clearly, he quietly says something. The imperial capital this time, it's going to change. Then they finally enter. Each person must pay 100 silver to pass the gate. And the moment Qin Hai steps inside, he freezes. Because everything is overwhelming. The streets are unbelievably wide. 16 horse carriages could ride side by side. Crowds everywhere. Endless merchants. Endless warriors. The imperial capital truly feels like a nation inside another nation. And of course Kai Hao instantly jumps on the opportunity to mock them. He calls them country bumpkins who have obviously never seen the capital before. Then he proudly explains something important. Right now, Heavenly God Academy is recruiting outer disciples, which means the city is packed with cultivators from all over the empire. Without booking in advance, finding a place to stay is almost impossible. And Kai Hao, of course, already solved this problem, because his mother is the sister of the Yi family patriarch, one of the most powerful families in the imperial capital. So before he even arrived, the Yi family already prepared a place for him. Then he turns to Yan Shuinger with a big smile and offers her a room too. He promises she will have the best accommodation if she follows him. But before she can respond, Qin Chen simply waves his hand. Let's go! Find a place to stay first. Then we visit Heavenly God Academy. Qin Hai immediately follows. They completely ignore Kai Hao, which makes him furious. But then something surprising happens. Yan Shuinger also walks over and says she will go with Qin Chen's group, once again rejecting Kai Hao. Bro takes another emotional damage hit. Then suddenly a loud excited voice echoes nearby. Kai Hao jumps like someone just gave him good news, because the person arriving is his cousin, Yi King, one of the most famous geniuses in the imperial capital. Kai Hao proudly starts introducing her before she even arrives. He says she awakened a royal body, reached the 4th level of the Spirit Sea realm, and now she is one of the most celebrated geniuses in Heavenly God Academy, the #1 proud daughter of heaven in the imperial capital. When she finally appears, the description matches. Elegant, beautiful, like a lotus blooming from clear water, but her expression carries a trace of sadness. Kai Hao rushes forward to greet her. He immediately starts bragging again and introduces Yan Shuanger, hoping Yi Ziking will arrange a room for her. But something strange happens. Yi Ziking isn't looking at Yan Shuanger. She's staring at someone else. Qin Chen. Kai Hao tries to interrupt and says those two are just countryside kids. Nothing worth noticing. But suddenly, Yi Ziking shouts, "Shut up!" Kai Hao immediately goes silent, because despite being cousins, their status difference is enormous. Yi Ziking now possesses a royal body and stands at the center of attention in the entire imperial capital. Compared to her, Kai Hao is barely relevant. Then slowly Yi Ziking walks toward Qin Chen, and at that moment everyone nearby freezes, because the proud genius of the Yi family is approaching the country boy Kai Hao just mocked. Even Qin Hai is confused, and Kai Hao, his brain is basically rebooting, because something about this situation does not make sense at all. Alright, chapter 65 is where the imperial capital immediately starts acting weird the second Qin Chen steps into it. Because first, Yi Ziking walks up to him like she already knows exactly who he is. Then things somehow get even crazier. The moment she stops in front of Qin Chen, everyone nearby is waiting for some noble greeting, some polite introduction, maybe a little imperial capital courtesy. Instead, Yi Ziking bows in the posture of a maid and says she greets young Master Qin. Yeah, the imperial capital's famous proud daughter of heaven just greeted Qin Chen like a servant greeting her master. Kai Hao's brain almost leaves his body. Qin Hai is frozen. Even Yan Shuanger, who has been surprisingly calm this whole time, looks confused. Because this is not normal etiquette. This is not casual respect. This is obedience. And Qin Chen? He acts like this is the most normal thing in the world. He basically says he thought Yi Ziking might pretend not to know him after arriving in the capital. But clearly the Yi family is not as simple as it looks. Yi Ziking can only smile bitterly inside. Because simple? Nothing about Qin Chen is simple. Behind her, Elder Ku and the three guards from before also step forward and respectfully greet Qin Chen. And the reason for that respect is obvious. Back in the valley, they all witnessed Qin Chen's terrifying methods, his absurd confidence, and the impossible things he pulled off one after another. By now, calling him frightening is not even enough. This man is a walking plot twist. So Yi Ziking offers to arrange a place for Qin Chen to stay. And not just anywhere. She already booked him a room at Wind Leaf Inn. Now that name matters, because Wind Leaf Inn is one of the most luxurious properties under the Yi family in the entire imperial capital. Even members of the Yi family themselves do not casually stay there. That is elite level hospitality. And hearing this, Kai Hao nearly chokes, because he has been bragging this whole time about his family connections and how the Yi family arranged things for him. But now Yi Ziking is offering one of their top places to Qin Chen instead. That is a direct emotional uppercut. Qin Chen asks a simple question. Did you know I was coming? And Yi Ziking answers honestly. After parting from him before, she secretly sent people to keep track of his movements. She even says something else that makes the situation more interesting. When those people later went to the Qin family, they failed to help when the family was under attack. So she considers that her fault and asked Qin Chen for punishment. Punishment. Again with the servant energy, and Qin Chen just waves it off like it is no big deal. To him, it really is not. But before the group can move toward Wind Leaf Inn, another voice suddenly cuts in. And this one comes in loud. The new speaker says Qin Chen absolutely cannot stay at Wind Leaf Inn, because a person like Qin Chen deserves to stay at St. Sparrow Inn instead. Everyone turns, and the moment the newcomer appears, the mood changes again. It is Sheng Zhenyu, the young genius of the St. Pill Pavilion, the future alchemy monster of the imperial capital, the guy who has been famous for years as a once-in-a-generation pill talent. Kai Hao almost faints again, because Sheng Zhenyu is not just famous, he is terrifyingly famous. A first-rank spirit alchemist at barely this age, the kind of talent the whole empire talks about. And now this guy shows up in person for Qin Chen. Yi Ziking instantly frowns, because now it has become a competition. Sheng Zhenyu walks up and says something even more insane. He says he is Qin Chen's pill boy. Yup, not ally, not friend, not fellow genius. Pill boy. At this point, Kai Hao is spiritually collapsing. First, Yi Ziking greeted Qin Chen like a maid. Now Sheng Zhenyu says he is Qin Chen's pill boy. So in Kai Hao's eyes, the entire world has officially stopped making sense. Qin Hai is standing there too, trying to stay calm. but internally he is getting blasted by revelation after revelation. His little brother really came to the imperial capital already carrying hidden connections with both the top genius beauty and the top pill genius. This is not low profile. This is hidden nuclear weapon energy. Qin Chen tells Shang Xinyu not to keep calling him Master Qin or Grandmaster Qin because it makes him sound old. Just call him Qin Chen. Shang Xinyu immediately obeys. Then he gives another command. Bring him here. A moment later, two martial artists drag someone forward and throw him down. It is Du Yi, the same man from the Saint Pill Pavilion in Ling Tian City. Right now he looks miserable. Torn clothes, injuries everywhere, clearly beaten badly. Shang Xinyu explains the situation. Du Yi abandoned Ling Tian City and came running to the capital while the Qin family was in danger. Since no order was issued from the Saint Pill Pavilion to help the Qin family, Shang Xinyu captured him personally and brought him here for Qin Chen to decide his fate. Du Yi instantly starts begging for mercy. He cries that he only came because Qin Chen had not returned for many days and he worried something happened, so he rushed to report the matter. He did not expect the Ling family would attack so quickly. Basically, the man is in full survival mode, but Qin Chen already knows the general situation from Du Siwen. So he says the man is not really to blame. In fact, punishing him like this is too harsh. Shang Xinyu instantly agrees. No argument, no resistance, because to him, the only thing that matters is whether Qin Chen is satisfied. Then Qin Chen adds that Du Yi still has value in Ling Tian City. His father now has many matters to handle, and working with Du Yi can still be useful. That is enough. Du Yi's life is spared on the spot. Bro survives by one sentence. Then Kai Hao hears another detail that nearly sends him into the afterlife. Shang Xinyu mentions that if Qin Chen had not been powerful enough to kill a first-level Spirit Sea expert while still only at the 8-gate stage, then Shang Xinyu might never have seen him alive again. That sentence lands like thunder, because standing right there are Yun Shiwanger, Old Mo, and Kai Hao, and all three of them hear it clearly. 8-gate stage guild Spirit Sea realm. That is not normal genius behavior. That is monster behavior. Kai Hao immediately starts sweating, because just a little earlier, he was still thinking about finding a chance on the road to quietly get rid of Qin Chen. Yep, good thing he did not try. Otherwise he and his guards would have been packed up and sent home in pieces. Now with all that out in the open, the real comedy begins. Yi Ziking insists Qin Chen should stay at Wen Leaf Inn. Shang Xinyu insists Qin Chen should stay at Saint Sparrow Inn. And both of them are deadly serious. One offers the finest inn under the Yi family. The other offers the finest inn under the Saint Pill Pavilion. It is basically two of the biggest young names in the imperial capital fighting over who gets to host Qin Chen. Meanwhile, Qin Chen is just standing there while sparks practically fly between them. And honestly, that is the real flex of this chapter. Not the threats, not the titles, not the backgrounds. The real flex is that Qin Chen arrives in the imperial capital and within moments, two top-level talents are already competing for the right to serve him. Kai Hao, who spent the whole trip trying to show off his status, is now standing there watching the city's true elite orbit around a country bumpkin from Ling Tian City. That is brutal. Absolutely brutal. And the best part? This is just the beginning. Because Qin Chen has not even entered Heavenly God Academy yet. He has not met Ling Tian yet. He has not met Chu Ningfei yet. He has not started settling scores yet. And already the imperial capital is turning into his stage. So yeah, if this chapter proves anything, it is that Qin Chen did not arrive in the capital as some nobody trying to make a name. He arrived with a maid, a pill boy, a hidden beast, a mysterious beauty following him, and enough aura to make the capital's young elites start acting weird on sight. That is not an entrance. That is a warning. Alright, chapter 66 opens with the most ridiculous argument imaginable happening right in the middle of the northern Ming imperial capital. Two legendary young geniuses. One is Yi Ziking, the proud daughter of the Yi family, owner of the luxurious Wen Leaf Inn. The other is Shang Xinyu, the genius alchemist of the Saint Pill Pavilion. And both of them are arguing over who gets to host Qin Chen. Yo, if this story leaked outside, nobody would believe it. The proud daughter of heaven and the future Pill King fighting over a room for a guy from a small city. Meanwhile, Qin Chen just sighs like a tired dad watching two kids argue. So he ends the debate immediately. Both of you stop arguing. Instant silence. Then Qin Chen turns to Ling Xiaofai. Lil Xiaofai, you decide where we stay. The little girl immediately beams with excitement, because now she holds the most important vote in the entire situation. She looks at Yi Ziking. Then she points and says she likes the pretty sister. Then she drops a nuclear-level comment. Qin Chen, big brother, since Sister Shuanger doesn't want to marry you, why don't you marry this pretty sister instead? Everyone freezes. Yi Ziking freezes. Shang Xinyu freezes. Qin Hai almost laughs out loud, and Qin Chen just holds his forehead like he suddenly regrets bringing this kid along. But Xiaofai continues talking proudly. She says she will help create opportunities by staying close to the pretty sister. At this point, Qin Chen completely gives up arguing with her. Fine, then we stay at Wen Li Fin. Just like that, the decision is made. Yi Ziking quietly smiles and leads the group forward. Meanwhile, Shang Xinyu looks miserable. Not because he lost the argument, but because his poison problem still exists. Qin Chen notices immediately. What? Is a place to stay really worth that sad face? Did you find the nine-winged spirit green flower yet? Shang Xinyu shakes his head with a painful expression. That medicinal herb is extremely rare, almost impossible to find. But Qin Chen just shrugs casually. If that's the case, I'll help you refine another antidote later. Instead of solving the poison instantly like the 9-spirit green pill would, we can remove the poison slowly over 3 months. 3 months, step by step, completely eliminating the poison fire in your body. Shang Xinyu instantly lights up like someone just handed him the cure to life itself. Yes, he doesn't care if it takes 3 months. As long as the poison disappears, he is happy. But then he suddenly realizes something. What? If Qin Chen can refine another type of pill now, doesn't that mean Qin Chen's alchemy has improved again? Yeah, that thought immediately locks into his brain. Because Shang Xinyu still hasn't forgotten the 3 questions Qin Chen left him earlier. Those questions have been haunting him, and he swears to himself that he must ask Qin Chen clearly one day. Soon the group board the carriages and heads toward Wen Li Fin. Ling Xiaofai naturally sits with Qin Chen. Meanwhile, Shang Xinyu abandons his own luxurious carriage and jumps straight into Yi Ziking's carriage, which instantly makes her frown. What are you doing here? Shang Xinyu replies confidently. I'm Qin Brother's pill boy. Of course I must follow him. Besides, who knows if Missy might try something against him. Yi Ziking's expression turns cold immediately. The two start arguing again, and Qin Chen finally massages his temples. You two have been arguing the entire time. You're giving me a headache. Then he suddenly looks at Yi Ziking and says something serious. I told you before, next time we meet, you should reach the 5th level of the Spirit Sea Realm. Looks like you've been slacking recently. Yi Ziking instantly shows a bitter expression. Because he is right. Then Shang Xinyu finally realizes something. Wait, why did Yi Ziking become Qin Chen's maid in the first place? He understands why he himself follows Qin Chen. Qin Chen's alchemy is terrifying, and Qin Chen is saving his life. But Yi Ziking? Why would a proud imperial capital genius willingly become his servant? The answer arrives quickly. Qin Chen looks at her calmly. Your mother's condition. That's the problem, right? The moment those words appear, Yi Ziking drops to her knees. Young master is correct. The cold poison in my mother's body was removed before, but then fire poison appeared, and after the fire poison disappeared, the cold poison returned again. Even the heavenly fire spirit crystal we used is already exhausted. She begs Qin Chen to save her mother. If he does, she is willing to serve him for the rest of her life. Shang Xinyu almost falls over hearing this, because heavenly fire spirit crystal is unbelievably expensive, and Qin Chen already spent something like that for Yi Ziking before? That's insane generosity. Qin Chen sighs slightly. I told you before. You didn't listen. Now solving it is much more troublesome. Yi Ziking's face turns pale. But then Qin Chen continues. Still, it's not impossible. You need 3 main ingredients. 9 nether armored scorpion blood essence, spirit flame grass, cold jade fruit. Prepare those first. Later I will write the rest of the ingredients. When everything is ready, come find me again. Yi Ziking instantly bows deeply. Then she raises her fingers and swears an oath. From this day forward, she will follow Qin Chen as her master. If she ever betrays him, she will die a miserable death. Qin Chen waves his hand casually. No need for poisonous oaths. I don't believe in them, but since you call me master, I will train you. However, if you betray me, even if you run to the ends of the earth, I will still kill you easily. Yi Ziking nods seriously. She knows Qin Chen isn't joking. Soon the carriage stops. Wen Li Fin. The moment they arrive, the massive golden decorated hall shocks everyone. Even Kai Hao, who has been bragging about his connections earlier, stands there stunned. The entire hall is covered with gold decorations, pearls everywhere. Everything screams luxury. This place isn't just expensive, it's ridiculous. Kai Hao whispers in shock. So this is Wen Li Fin. I've heard of it before, but never seen it. Then suddenly a servant stops him. Young Master Kai, your room is across the street, at Greenfield Inn. Kai Hao almost explodes. But I'm Yi Ziking's cousin. You're making me stay at that broken place? The servant calmly explains. Every inn in the imperial capital is fully booked. Greenfield Inn was the best place they could find, and Yikai only helped him get that room because of their family relationship. Then he adds something devastating. Today Miss Yi personally came to pick up young Master Qin. You were just brought along conveniently. Kai Hao's face turns pale. Meanwhile, Qin Hai laughs loudly. What? Greenfield Inn. Sounds very countryside style. Kai Hao is completely speechless, and at that moment Shang Xinyu suddenly walks over to Qin Hai. Second brother Qin. Next time anyone from the Qin family visits the imperial capital, please notify me. At St. Sparrow Inn, I will personally arrange everything. Qin Hai nods happily. Of course. Inside his heart, he finally feels the revenge for all the insults Kai Hao threw at him during the journey. Meanwhile, Qin Chen just walks inside the inn calmly. If he knew Yikai and Shang Xinyu would cause this much drama just to welcome him honestly, he probably would have preferred arriving quietly instead. Alright, chapter 67 is where Qin Chen finally runs into someone from his past and the reunion goes exactly how you would expect. Violent. So the chapter opens inside Wind Leaf Inn after the group settles in. And the first thing everyone learns, this place is ridiculously expensive. One night in this room costs 100,000 gold. Yup, that number alone almost makes Qin Hai choke. Because the entire Qin family back in Lingyan City would need about a month just to earn that much revenue. Welcome to the imperial capital, where breathing costs money. But while Qin Hai is still mentally calculating expenses, Ling Xiaofai is having the time of her life. She runs around the room excitedly, touching everything, jumping on the bed, looking out the window like she just unlocked the luxury DLC of life. Meanwhile, Shang Xinyu is mumbling to himself. Most luxurious room? Still not as good as the heaven room at St. Sparrow Inn, he sighs dramatically. But then suddenly he gets an idea. Qin brother, you must be tired after traveling so far, right? Why don't we go eat at St. Sparrow Inn? The chefs there are the best in the entire imperial capital. And we even have spirit beast meat. The moment Ling Xiaofai hears those words, spirit beast meat, her eyes immediately sparkle. Let's go! Let's go! Qin Chen just laughs. If Xiaofai wants to go, then we go. And just like that, the entire group heads towards St. Sparrow Inn. Now this place, even more extravagant than Wind Leaf Inn. Servants everywhere. Every single attendant is basically model level beautiful. Shang Xinyu walks in like he owns the place, which technically he kind of does. A manager immediately runs over. Ninth young master, I failed to welcome you properly. Please forgive me. Shang Xinyu waves his hand. Prepare the best private room. I am hosting important guests today. The manager nods quickly and rushes away, but Qin Chen stops him. No maid, let's just sit here in the main hall. It's more lively. Shang Xinyu immediately agrees. So the group takes a large table. The seating arrangement ends up looking pretty interesting. Yikai sits on Qin Chen's right. Ling Xiaofai sits on his left. Shang Xinyu sits next to Xiaofai. Clearly he has already figured out the trick. If you want to make Qin Chen happy, first make the little girl happy. Qin Hai, Yun Shuanger, and Old Mo sit nearby. Soon Shang Xinyu orders the restaurant's famous signature dish, 18 General Mountain Crossing Feast, which is basically their legendary spirit beast banquet. Everyone else is impressed, but Qin Chen, not even slightly. After all, in his past life he has eaten delicacies that would make imperial banquets look like street food. Meanwhile, Yun Shuanger and Old Mo are secretly observing him, because something doesn't add up. Qin Chen came from Lingyan City, yet nothing here surprises him. Not the luxury, not the wealth, not the atmosphere. That kind of composure cannot be faked, which makes them even more curious about him. But before the food even arrives, more guests enter the restaurant. A group of young disciples. At the front walks a handsome young man wearing a blue robe. He looks confident, proud, and clearly likes showing off. He turns to the girl beside him. Junior Sister Chu, this is one of the most luxurious restaurants in the imperial capital. Even booking a table here requires effort. Another disciple quickly adds, yes, Senior Brother Zhu worked very hard to reserve this table. And the food here uses spirit beast meat. It helps cultivation. Senior Brother Zhu is really good to Junior Sister Chu. The blue-robed man smiles modestly like he totally expected this praise. Everyone sits down, and their table just happens to be right next to Qin Chen's group. Then suddenly, a shocked voice appears. Huh, everyone turns, and the person speaking is Chu Ningfei. Yo, Qin Chen's former fiancée, the same girl who betrayed him. The same girl who helped Ling Tian steal his Stargate, and now she's standing right here in the imperial capital. Seeing him again, Qin Chen just smiles calmly. What a coincidence. But Chu Ningfei looks furious. Why are you here? This is not a place someone like you should appear. Qin Chen chuckles. After all, I was once your fiancé. You don't need to look down on me so much. He even teases her. Seeing me again, are you happy? Xu Ningfei sneers. The fact that you didn't die and even made it to the imperial capital means you're lucky. Qin Chen shrugs. If your former fiancé survives, shouldn't you at least congratulate him? Then he casually drops a bomb. Oh right, there's something you probably don't know yet. Your father, Xu Shantai. I killed him. And Ling Qicheng too. You should inform Ling Tian. If he wants revenge, he can come find me. The moment those words land, Xu Ningfei's body trembles. Her face turns pale. Her father dead? That's impossible. Her family and the Ling family invited Spirit Sea experts to destroy the Qin family. How could they lose instead? She shouts that Qin Chen is lying, but Qin Hai immediately cuts in coldly. If you don't believe it, go back and check. Then he continues with visible anger. Xu Ningfei, you grew up with my little brother, yet you betrayed him. You used Ling Tian to enter Heavenly God Academy, and you stepped on my brother's glory to climb higher. Hearing this, even Yun Qiwenger and Yi Ziking are stunned, because now they finally learned something shocking. Qin Chen used to be a star fate martial artist, but his Stargate was stolen, and yet he survived, which should have been impossible. Meanwhile, Xu Ningfei stares at Qin Hai in disbelief. You can stand again? Because Qin Hai was supposed to be crippled, but now he's clearly recovered, and even releasing spiritual energy, which means Qin Chen fixed him. Everything she believed about the Qin family collapsing is wrong. Completely wrong. Meanwhile, the blue-robed senior brother finally stands up. His name is Su Shengyu, and he clearly wants to play hero. Junior's sister Chu. Who are these people? Xu Ningfei points directly at Qin Chen. They are my enemies. Senior brother Zhu, please help me kill him. She stares at Qin Chen with pure hatred, and Qin Chen just laughs softly. We just met again and you already want me dead? Breaking the engagement really turned you this cruel? But Su Shengyu doesn't care. He steps forward confidently. I don't know who you are, but offending junior sister Chu means offending me. Zhu Shengyu. Then, without hesitation, he reaches his hand straight toward Qin Chen. And just like that, the Imperial Capital arc officially gets its first public fight. Alright, chapter 68 is where Qin Chen walks into the Imperial Capital, sits down for one meal, and somehow manages to offend a royal prince, terrify half the room, and casually remind everyone that patience is not the same thing as weakness. So the whole scene begins with Zhu Shengyu trying to play hero for Xu Ningfei. Now this guy thinks he is being very cool. Heavenly God Academy disciple, decent strength, standing up for the crying beauty beside him, full righteous young master mode. But Qin Chen does not even bother moving. He had no intention of lifting a finger himself. Instead, the moment Zhu Shengyu reaches out, Yi Ziking stands up immediately and grabs his arm. And the difference in strength is brutal. Zhu Shengyu is only at the second level of Spirit Sea. Yi Ziking is already at the fourth level. So the second she grips his arm, crack, crack. Bone snapping sounds echo through the hall, and Zhu Shengyu screams like his whole future just got folded in half. Now this should have been the point where he shut up and reconsidered his life. Instead, he makes it worse. He glares at Yi Ziking and starts complaining that she is the noble eldest miss of the Yi family. Yet she is associating with people like Qin Chen. People like Qin Chen. That phrase makes Qin Chen pause. Then he calmly asks what exactly that means. Zhu Shengyu, clearly too stupid to realize he is digging his own grave, says Qin Chen is a shameless villain. He killed an entire family and now sits here pretending to be the victim. At this point, Qin Chen just smiles in that very dangerous way. Oh, then let me show you what shameless really looks like. And then he turns to Yi Ziking and says the line that sends the whole room into a deeper panic. Kill him! Now Yi Ziking hesitates for just a second, because this is not some random roadside thug. Zhu Shengyu is the nephew of Zhu Yuanshan from the Zhu family of the Imperial Capital. Killing him is not a small matter. So she asks the obvious question, kill him for real? And Qin Chen looks almost annoyed that she even had to ask. Do I need to check who someone is before I kill them? That sentence right there tells you everything about Qin Chen's mentality. Family background, status, connections, he genuinely does not care. And then Xu Ningfei panics. She shouts that Qin Chen cannot kill a disciple of Heavenly God Academy, because the Academy will never let him go if he does. But the moment she says those words, something interesting happens. Qin Chen goes quiet for a second, not because he is scared, because he is remembering. And what he remembers is wild. Long ago, when he was still the Nether Great Emperor, one of his disciples had an idea to found an empire to end chaos and protect the people. Another disciple wanted to create an academy inside that empire so more people could become martial artists and open a path for common folk. Those two ideas eventually became the Northern Ming Empire and Heavenly God Academy. Meaning this kingdom and this academy, Qin Chen basically helped lay the foundation for both. Even the imperial capital itself, he remembers shaping. The surrounding mountains, the hunting grounds, the whole arrangement for academy disciples to train nearby, a lot of that has his fingerprints on it. So when Chu Ningfei tries to use Heavenly God Academy as a threat, Qin Chen's reaction is simple. If Heavenly God Academy dares bark at me, I'll destroy it. That line drops like heavenly thunder. The whole hall goes silent, because nobody in the Northern Ming Empire talks like that. Nobody's sane, anyway. And then he repeats himself, kill him. That is when the mood changes again, because before Yizaikin can act, a powerful voice interrupts from above. Stop! Two people walk down from the upper floor. One is Saint Yun Kai, the fourth young master of the Saint Pill Pavilion. The other is the sixth prince of the Northern Ming royal family, Ming Qi, and the moment they appear, the entire atmosphere shifts. These are not ordinary young masters. These are top-tier figures even in the imperial capital. Shang Xingyu immediately stands up to greet them. Now Ming Qi steps in with the smooth, noble prince routine. He says there is no need to kill anyone over a small conflict. Killing in the imperial capital is against the law and everyone should calm down and talk things out. Sounds reasonable, right? Would almost work too, except then he turns around and walks directly toward Chu Ningfei with that classic soft voice and heroic expression. He tells her not to call him sixth prince, just call him Ming Qi. And just like that, Qin Chen immediately understands the situation. Another idiot who got baited by Chu Ningfei's fake delicate act. You can practically see it in his face. This prince thinks he is saving a poor innocent flower. He has no clue he is standing next to a walking poison vine. So Qin Chen gets up and walks straight toward Chu Ningfei. She instantly retreats behind Ming Qi like a frightened little rabbit. And Ming Qi, now fully committed to playing protector, shouts at Qin Chen that he has already slaughtered her whole family and now still wants to attack her in public. How could he do something so cruel to such a beautiful girl? That is when Qin Chen calls him what he really is. An idiot. Actually, not even just idiot. He says calling him stupid is almost an insult to stupidity itself. Ming Qi is stunned. Do you know who I am? Ness? And apparently that does not help. Qin Chen tells him his ancestor Ming Yuan was a smart man. So how did the descendants end up producing someone this brainless? Then he points straight at Chu Ningfei and basically says that flower you're protecting, that is a man-eating flower. Sooner or later she will chew you down to the bone. Naturally Ming Qi explodes with rage. He attacks immediately. Now here is the fun part. Ming Qi is at the second level of Spirit C. Normally, that should be enough to crush most young cultivators. But Qin Chen does not move. Not an inch. He just stands there. Ming Qi's tiger-shaped fist smashes straight into Qin Chen's chest. And then crack. Not Qin Chen's body. Ming Qi's arm. His whole hand and arm bend backward and the pain instantly wipes the anger off his face. The room goes dead silent again. Because this prince just punched Qin Chen with full force and basically broke himself. Qin Chen grabs him by the collar and sighs. He really does not want to kill him. Not because Ming Qi matters. Because he is still a descendant of Ming Yuan. And Qin Chen cannot quite bring himself to wipe out one of his old disciples' bloodline like that. So instead of killing him, Qin Chen just throws him out of the hall. Literally. One toss, Ming Qi flies outside and the sound of him crashing lands with perfect comedic timing. Then Qin Chen turns back to Chu Ningfei. Now she is no longer pretending to be brave. She is terrified, and Qin Chen just calmly tells her the truth. Yes, he already reached Spirit C. No, this is not the part where he kills her. Not yet. He says next time they meet, he will kill her for sure. But this time, he is sparing her so she can go deliver a message. Tell Ling Tian to come find me, and while you're at it, drop the fake pitiful expression. It's disgusting. That line absolutely destroys her. Then little Ling Xiaofei walks past Chu Ningfei, looks her up and down, and says in the most brutal innocent child voice possible that she is a bad person and not even as pretty as Sister Shuier or Sister Ziking. Emotional damage from a child. But the chapter is not done, because right as Qin Chen is about to leave, he turns back and asks one final question. What about that one? Kill him or not? And the answer comes cold and simple. Kill. Alright, chapter 69 slows the chaos down a little after the massive restaurant confrontation, but it also sets up something extremely important for the future. Because after everything that happened inside St. Sparrow Inn, the imperial capital is already starting to buzz. The sixth prince just got thrown out of a restaurant. A Heavenly God Academy disciple was executed in public. And the person responsible? A young man from Lingyan City named Qin Chen. So while the entire city begins whispering about this ridiculous incident, Qin Chen himself, he doesn't care at all. Instead, he returns to Wine Leaf Inn with Ling Xiaofai like nothing happened. From his perspective, today was just another slightly annoying afternoon. But Chu Ningfei is not as calm. Back at her own place, she is completely shaken. Her mind keeps replaying the same information again and again. Qin Chen is alive. Not only alive, he destroyed the Chu family and the Ling family. He reached the Spirit Sea realm, and even Yi Ziqing is obeying him. None of this makes sense. 2 months ago, Qin Chen was supposed to be finished. His Stargate was stolen. His life should have ended. Yet somehow everything turned upside down. The more Chu Ningfei thinks about it, the more terrified she becomes. There is only one conclusion she can reach. She must inform Ling Tian immediately, because if Qin Chen is allowed to continue growing, things might become very dangerous. Meanwhile, inside St. Sparrow Inn, another conversation is happening. St. Yun Kai is currently scolding his younger brother Sheng Xinyu. He reminds him that the sixth prince's status is extremely important. Allowing someone to throw him out like that inside their restaurant is not a small political matter. But Sheng Xinyu can only smile bitterly, because even he did not expect Qin Chen to act so violently. More importantly, he also did not expect Qin Chen to already reach the Spirit Sea realm. The last time he met Qin Chen, the guy was still at the 4-gate stage. And now, Spirit Sea, 2 months. That kind of cultivation speed is honestly terrifying. At another table, Yun Shuanger and Old Mo are also discussing Qin Chen quietly. Old Mo squints his eyes and says something interesting. That boy is either extremely powerful behind the scenes or he is completely insane. Because someone who dares to challenge the royal family and Heavenly God Academy at the same time must have something supporting him. Yun Shuanger just smiles. She says she finds it very interesting. Because if Qin Chen truly has the confidence he displays, then the imperial capital might become very lively soon. Meanwhile, Qin Chen himself has already returned to Wine Leaf Inn. After such a chaotic day, even he feels a little tired. Ling Xiaofai, however, is full of energy. The moment they enter the room, she jumps straight onto the table and starts devouring snacks like a tiny tornado. Qin Chen watches her with a smile. Then suddenly he asks a serious question. Xiaofai, do you want to see your parents again? The little girl freezes for a moment. Then she nods immediately while chewing food. Of course I do. I want to ask them why they abandoned me. Her voice is simple, but there is clear stubbornness behind it. Qin Chen nods. Then you must work hard. Become stronger. Only a powerful martial artist can travel the world and find the answers you want. Xiaofai clenches her small fists. I'm not afraid of hard work. If I find them, I will ask them why they abandoned me. And if their answer isn't good enough, I'll punch them. Qin Chen burst out laughing. All right, since you're serious, I'll teach you cultivation now. The little girl immediately sits down in front of him like an obedient student. And then Qin Chen says something that would drive the entire continent insane if anyone else heard it. He is going to teach her a divine art, the 9 nether art. Now here's the crazy part. This technique isn't just a high-level cultivation method. It's a god-level technique, something far beyond normal spirit techniques. If a divine art appeared anywhere in the northern Ming Empire, the entire empire would probably collapse from the battle to obtain it. Yet Qin Chen is just casually teaching it to a little girl in a hotel room. He warns her seriously. This technique must remain a secret between the two of them. If anyone else learns about it, both of them could be in terrible danger. Ling Xiaofai nods nervously. Then Qin Chen begins explaining. The 9 nether art is the core inheritance technique of the 9 nether lineage, and Ling Xiaofai happens to be a descendant of the 9 nether vermilion bird. Inside her body flows the 9 nether fire, meaning this technique is perfectly suited for her. Then Qin Chen begins reciting the cultivation method. The words flow like ancient poetry. Ling Xiaofai listens carefully, absorbing every instruction. Time passes slowly. Night falls over the imperial capital. Inside the room, spiritual energy begins circulating through the girl's body. Then something shocking happens. Energy flows through her arms, through her legs, through her meridians. 3 gates open. Just like that, she breaks through to the 3-gate stage. Qin Chen can't help sticking out his tongue in surprise. Even for him, this speed is ridiculous. But it makes sense. A 9 nether bloodline combined with the 9 nether art is basically cheating. After the breakthrough, Ling Xiaofai suddenly looks up. Qin Chen, big brother, I'm hungry. Of course she is. Breaking through consumes a lot of energy. So Qin Chen laughs and takes her downstairs for food. The little girl immediately orders more than 10 dishes and eats like a starving tiger. Qin Chen understands why. Spirit beast meat replenishes the blood and energy lost during cultivation. For someone who just broke through, it's perfect. After dinner, they walk through the busy streets of the imperial capital for a while. But somewhere else in the city another story is unfolding. Inside the Yi family residence, Yi Ziking is standing in front of her father, the patriarch of the Yi family, and the first question he asks her is simple. Did you kill Zhu Shengyu? Yi Ziking answers calmly. Yes. Her father's expression immediately becomes complicated, because Zhu Shengyu is the nephew of Zhu Yuanchen from the Zhu family, and now the Zhu family is demanding an explanation. But Yi Ziking doesn't hesitate at all. If the Zhu family wants revenge, they can come find me. Her father is stunned, because ever since awakening the royal body, his daughter has become one of the empire's most closely watched geniuses. Yet she just casually admitted to killing someone from another powerful family. Then he asks the obvious question, what? And Yi Ziking finally explains everything, including Qin Chen, including her mother's illness, including the hope that Qin Chen might save her. When her father hears this, he almost laughs in disbelief. A 16-year-old boy? Even Master Chu Fengzheng, a third-rank spirit alchemist, couldn't cure that illness. And now she expects some teenager to succeed? But Yi Ziking doesn't hesitate. Before you believed Master Chu, now you should believe me. And with that statement, the Yi family patriarch suddenly realizes something. His daughter has already placed her trust in Qin Chen completely, which means whether he believes it or not, the fate of the Yi family might already be quietly connecting itself to that strange young man from Lingyan City. Alright, chapter 70 shifts the story away from the restaurant chaos and into something much bigger behind the scenes. Because while Qin Chen casually returns to Wine Leaf Inn and goes to sleep like nothing happened, several major forces inside the imperial capital are already reacting. First, we jump to the Yi family. Yi Ziking has just returned home after killing Zhu Shengyu under Qin Chen's command. Inside the Yi residence, the atmosphere is tense. Her father, Yi Tanyuan, is waiting for her, and the first thing he asks, did you really kill Zhu Shengyu? Now this question is not small. Zhu Shengyu is the nephew of Zhu Yuanchen from the Zhu family. Killing him is basically slapping another powerful clan directly in the face. But Yi Ziking doesn't hesitate even slightly. Yes, I killed him. Her tone is calm. No regret. No apology. Her father's expression immediately becomes complicated, because the Zhu family has already demanded an explanation, and if this matter escalates, it could easily turn into a conflict between the two families. But Yi Ziking's response is simple. If the Zhu family wants revenge, they can come for me. Her father stares at her in disbelief, because ever since awakening the royal body, his daughter has become one of the most closely watched geniuses in the entire northern Ming Empire. Her future should be carefully protected, yet she just casually admitted to killing someone from another great family. So naturally, he asks the obvious question, what? Why would she do something so reckless? And that is when Yi Ziking explains everything. She tells him about Qin Chen, about how Qin Chen cured her mother's cold poison before, about how the situation became complicated again, about how Qin Chen might be the only person capable of saving her mother's life completely. But when Yi Tangyuan hears this explanation, he almost laughs. A 16-year-old boy? Even Chu Fengzheng, a third-rank spirit alchemist, could not solve the problem. And Chu Fengzheng is one of the most famous alchemists in the entire empire. So how could some teenager succeed where a master failed? To Yi Tanyuan, this sounds ridiculous. But Yi Ziking doesn't back down. Before you believed Master Chu, now you should believe me. Her tone is firm, completely certain. At that moment, Yi Tanyuan realizes something important. His daughter has already decided. No matter what he says now, she will continue following Qin Chen. Meanwhile, somewhere else in the imperial capital, things are going even worse for someone else. Shang Xinyu. Inside the headquarters of the Saint Pill Pavilion, the atmosphere is extremely serious. Standing in the main hall are several powerful figures, including Sheng Dingfang, the pavilion master of the Saint Pill Pavilion branch in the northern Ming Empire, and also Sheng Xinyu's father. Right now, Sheng Yunkai, Sheng Xinyu's older brother, is reporting everything that happened in the restaurant. He explains how Qin Chen ordered Yi Ziking to kill Zhu Shengyu, how Qin Chen broke the arm of the sixth Prince Ming Qi, and how all of this chaos started because Sheng Xinyu brought Qin Chen to the restaurant. From his tone, it's obvious he's not happy. After all, the sixth prince was there to negotiate business deals between the royal family and the St. Pill Pavilion. Now that the prince was injured inside their territory, a relationship might become very complicated. Shang Xinyu stands there with his head lowered. He knows he caused trouble, so he immediately accepts responsibility. Father, this matter is my fault. I am willing to accept punishment. But before Sheng Dingfeng can respond, another brother suddenly speaks. It is Sheng Yunchen, the seventh son. He says Shang Xinyu probably just made a mistake while making friends. Everyone makes mistakes sometimes. Maybe they should give him another chance. Immediately Shang Yunkai argues back. He insists that rules are rules. If mistakes are ignored just because someone is family, then the St. Pill Pavilion will lose discipline. The two brothers start arguing, and finally Shang Dingfeng slams the table. His voice is calm, but the pressure in the room instantly becomes heavy. Then he says something unexpected. Instead of worrying about the prince's injury, he is more worried about another matter entirely. The St. Pill Pavilion headquarters has sent news. A 4th-rank spirit alchemist will be arriving soon. Now here's why that matters. In the Northern Ming Empire, a 4th-rank spirit alchemist is an extremely high-level figure, and according to the rules of the St. Pill Pavilion, when headquarters sends a new alchemist to a branch, they must compete with the local pavilion master. The winner becomes the new pavilion master. The loser returns to headquarters in disgrace. That means Shang Dingfeng himself might lose his position, which would be disastrous for the entire family. If he loses power, all his children lose protection inside the empire. Naturally, everyone becomes nervous. Shang Yunkai asks if their father really thinks he might lose. After all, Shang Dingfeng is already a 4th-rank spirit alchemist himself. But Shang Dingfeng sighs, because the opponent this time is someone special, his old junior brother, Jiushi. Years ago, their abilities were similar, but in both theory and practical alchemy, Jiushi was always slightly better, which means this competition will be extremely dangerous. Then Shang Xinyu suddenly asks an important question. How will the competition work? Shang Dingfeng explains the rules. 2 rounds. First round, each side chooses their best pill to refine. Whoever produces the better pill wins the round. Second round, a knowledge examination. Each side asks 3 questions about alchemy theory. Whoever answers more correctly wins. After hearing this, Shang Dingfeng sighs again, because honestly, he doesn't feel confident in either round. But then Shang Xinyu suddenly raises his head. Father, can you guarantee that your pill refining will not lose? Shang Dingfeng looks confused. Why? And Shang Xinyu answers with complete confidence. If you can hold your ground in the refining round, I have a way to guarantee victory. The room goes silent, because Shang Xinyu normally acts carefree, but right now his expression is serious. Shang Dingfeng asks him carefully, do you really have a solution? And Shang Xinyu nods. Inside his mind, one image appears clearly. A calm young man, standing in a restaurant, throwing a prince out the door like a sack of trash. Qin Chen. For some reason, Shang Xinyu is absolutely certain, if Qin Chen helps, his father will win.